Yeah, thank you. Actually, for the activity one, and also it's going to be repeated to the rest of the activities. When we talk about the knowledge holders in our communities, and especially in most of our culture, people do not speak the foreign language that we are using in the meeting. So they do not speak French or English or whatever. And those are the knowledge holders who are at the communities. So if we wanted to get them contribute, participate. So I think my recommendation for you as members is to make this facility of them to attend and have the interpreters maybe to say what they wanted to say. So that will make maybe the work very particular, so we are not going to use the usual people or also the usual way of contacting meeting, because we are talking about the knowledge of the indigenous peoples. And those knowledge holders are coming from the communities there. And also in the youth dialogue, now, yes, it's fine. We are having some youth that selected and coming from the cities and all. But the indigenous youth that are coming from the communities are also important to participate, because that also can make a diversity of exchange. So if you found someone from a fisherman or someone from the pastoralists who are the youth there, and then they come with the youth who are working in the indigenous organization in the city, so that can make this exchange and this discussion even more richer. So in resume, the language cannot be a barrier for the work of the FWG and also to contribute in the LCIPP. So maybe we can find a new mechanism. And yeah, and congratulations also to make a difference, because in these knowledge holders, we have one person, call it a resource person, who can help guide even those from the city if they do not speak the same language, so then they cannot get, Andrea said earlier, the bus issue, the meeting rooms, etc. So these kind of things are really very encouraging. Thank you so much again.
Thank you very much, Hindu. You raised such useful points, and I couldn't agree more. Secretariat, with your help, I think I see 1, 2, 3, 4 hands. Okay, so we will start. Okay, we can start here. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Yes.
Hello. Hello, everybody. My name is Chris Honani. I am Hopi and Dene. I am the Food Sovereignty Program Co-Coordinator for the International Indian Treaty Council. And I also served as the moderator for the informal youth consultation in preparation for the Youth Roundtable activity along with Oslak here. And I moderated the first consultation session. And some of the main takeaways that we had from that session was that the main takeaway that I really realized and thought about, we want not a barrier to these discussions, many of these activities. Many of the indigenous youth that participated in the consultations made it known that there are youth in rural communities who may not have access to internet or may not speak one of the colonial languages that we use in these meetings. And we would need to be able to create an opportunity for them to participate, even if they don't speak English, Spanish, French, Russian, Portuguese or whatever other language. We want to be able to provide them access to this platform and to these activities without any barrier, language barriers. And they want to also be able to participate from their communities. So if or if not, they have access to platforms, internet platforms like Zoom or other online meeting platforms, we need to be able to think of other alternative solutions or alternative methods for them to participate in these discussions, whether or not if they have internet connectivity or not, they need to be included in these discussions. So we needed to think more about how do we do that? How do we make sure that they are included in all of the discussions that we're having today? Because we need their voices just as much as we need the voices of the youth that are here in person as well. So that was some of the main takeaways that we had from that first consultation. And so we really had a very productive session, and we're able to really come together and really share some great ideas about how we can make this Youth Roundtable a very effective activity. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I'm duly informed that you did a great job with your moderation at the informal consultation, so thank you very much. We had another hand up. Yes, and then, yes, then we'll go there.
Hi, everyone. I think I'm too short for this mic. Thank you, Madam Co-Chair. My name is Tungarai. I belong to Rai Indigenous Nation of Nepal. No? Not working? Can you hear me now? Yeah? Okay. Yeah, thank you. Perfect. My name is Tungarai. I belong to Rai Indigenous Nation of Nepal, and I work with Nepal Federation of Indigenous Nationalities, the Federation of Indigenous Peoples Organization in Nepal. So my recommendation or the question is around activity 4, interaction with the Gender Action Plan and indigenous feminism. So how have you been planning to include indigenous feminism, indigenous worldviews in context of dialogue with GAP? I'm saying this because the indigenous feminism is a very distinct ideology, distinct reality, because the issues of indigenous women and men is often a collective in nature, in characteristics. So we cannot see women as an universal category. So the issues of indigenous women are often the collective matter. So often I find the discussion around gender is women as an individual character. But indigenous women are not the individual, it's the collective in the community. So how we bring this perspective in the dialogue. And second one is about the indigenous science, indigenous knowledge system. I call it indigenous science versus the so-called Western science, while having dialogue with knowledge holders, and also that somehow relates with the communication. So Brother Graham touched upon a little bit about how indigenous knowledge is recognized as distinct science and distinct knowledge system rather than taking it as subordinate to the so-called Western science. So how do you make sure that our knowledge is not stolen again in the name of dialogue with outsiders, in the name of communication with the parties, with the stakeholders? So how do you protect that intellectual property in modern terms? Or how you really make effort to recognize indigenous knowledge systems as equal science to climate action? So these are my two questions around activity 4 and activity 7 and 9. Thank you.
Thank you very much.